And then it was just like, how do I move forward? Like I need to
Mhm.
work, but like I literally couldn't work. It was like
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything. Um, and then in the meantime, I'm like talking to Kim, and we're just trying to figure out like what just regular life because I feel at this point fine, because now I
Mhm.
am medicated,
Mhm,
everything's
mhm, mhm, mhm.
great, except I have no anything, like
Yeah.
I have nothing.
Hey, y'all, and welcome to Let's Talk Sis. I'm Shekinah, your host, and as we spend time together, I can promise you three things. I'll be honest, I'll make you laugh, and I won't hold back. Let's Talk Sis is your essential girl talk destination where you'll hear about life from the perspective of a black woman in America, as our stories often go untold. I can assure you, while honest, we are a community for growth and love. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Now sit back, relax, and let's talk, sis.
Hello, 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 beautiful people, and welcome back to another very, very special episode of the Let's Talk Sis podcast. Okay, this is a safe space for Black women who are deeply emotional, have not felt seen, heard, or valued. We have room for you here, and this is absolutely one of my favorite places to be. We have a guest today, but I'm going to tell you about her in just a second. Let me get a couple of announcements out the way, okay? This is a community, ladies and gentlemen. Mostly ladies. I don't know if there's any gentlemen, but hey, y'all. If you love what we're building here and you want to support the Let's Talk Sis brand, which is all about promoting authenticity in conversation to heal, grow, and inspire our audience, you can support us on a monetary level by visiting, by buying me a coffee. So you can either click the link in the show notes or head over to buymeacoffee.com/Let's Talk Sis and show your support. Every donations, big or small, really does help the team grow, improve our content, helps keep my editor on board, helps me find production, all the things, that go into such a lovely production as this. Okay. And as I said, this is a community. So if you want to be a part of the conversations that we're having here, I want to hear from you. So whether that's a timeline topic, whether that's a Let's Talk topic, a question, whatever it is you have, you can hit me up at the Let's Talk Sis pod@gmail.com and send in a message and let us know what you want us to talk about. Oh. All right, now that that is out the way, welcome to my beautiful guest, Miss Kalonda Jackson. Hey, girl. Known as
Hi.
Content Kalonda down to the socials. Tell the people
Hey.
a little bit about who you are.
Well, that is always my favorite question.
Ah,
Just jokes, I hate it. I'm like, I will talk all day about everybody else. But for me, I am the Chief Visionary Officer of Visionary Executive Network, where I help entrepreneurs take their dreams to done, and really help elevate their edge. So, not only just giving business strategy, but also being able to actually handle some of those things myself, so that they aren't just given this list of things that in 5 years, hopefully, they'll be able to implement, but really giving them that strategy and those steps and then the actual assistance to get it done in that time frame, and also help them try to find lives and create lives that are wildly joyful, so you
mm,
can live this life, build your dream, work your vision, but then actually have fun. Because when you are running a business, especially if it's your own business and your only employee, a lot of times it's very lonely,
mhm,
and it's really hard. And who do you talk to? Or if you only have a few employees, like they're typically not the people that you're able to vent
right.
to about them getting
Mm-hmm.
on your nerves. So
That part.
so giving them, an outlet so that they are able to kind of talk out the things that are stuck, find the holes, and find
Mhm.
creative ways to get them started so they can live the dream and live the life that they deserve.
I love that. And I love that it's such a unique yet necessary niche that you have found. Because like you said, yeah, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, a CEO, executive, etc., it can feel lonely. It can feel like, well, who do I get advice from? Who can help me? I got to be the one that always have the answers, or I have to be the one that always has it together. And so having someone who is professional, also cares about the person and the strategy, is definitely a wonderful balance. And so I'm excited to like learn a little bit more about that and kind of how you arrived at finding this niche for yourself, because I'm sure it is something that experience has taught you, but also knowing who you are as a person has kind of led to you being successful at. So I'm excited to get into that. So before we get into our first segment, I forgot to mention we're going to do a little icebreaker question, just a little fun question to help the audience get to know you a little more on a personal level, something silly. And today I want to
Okay.
know, does pineapple go on pizza?
No. Quick answer, absolutely not. Keep it away. I don't even want the pineapple with the cherry on my ham. Like, I don't want it. I
Oh,
don't.
what? We
So
did
no.
just kind of talk about salt in our margarita and the salty sweet combination, so I probably should have known the answer to that, but
Like,
I'm taking it back.
really? So are you a pineapple on
Yeah.
the pizza?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Like off. That's actually like my go-to pizza is
Really?
pepperoni, pineapple, and bacon on my
Wow. I'm like, give me all the meat. Give me every meat. Actually, the funny thing is, give me all the meat except ham. Like,
pizza. Okay,
I want the bacon, I want the sausage, I want pepperoni,
savory.
but yes, all the savory, like I want
So
that.
you don't
But it don't.
like a brown sugar glazed ham?
So here's the funny thing. The ham that I make is basically marinated in like in syrup. Like covered with like a praline crust.
Okay,
So
praline
I am a
crust. Wait
it's
a
delicious.
minute.
I'm a hypocrite, but that ham is delicious. But I'm not gonna put a pineapple on it.
Now,
Like
is it the pineapple that you are not into? Do you
I
like
love pineapple.
pineapple?
Oh, I
Just not
love
with ham
pineapple.
or pizza.
Not on my pizza.
Okay.
No. I don't
Okay.
typically outside of my Thanksgiving ham that is sweet, I am not a sweet meat type of person.
And
Like, so I
that
think
I
that's what it
agree with.
is.
It's weird for me because I say that, but I think it's really I just don't like barbecue sauce, honestly.
Oh, see, if
Yeah.
and I'm not a big fan of barbecue, but if it's spicy, then I can give it a pass. Or if it's like that vinegary, I don't want a sweet barbecue
I
sauce.
wouldn't know because I don't try it.
Oh, yeah, a vinegar barbecue sauce, I think you would actually enjoy
Mm,
if you like
okay.
vinegary stuff. I don't know. Are you a
Okay.
pickle olive girl?
Yeah, I can go to pickle or I like a Kalamala olive.
Okay, okay.
Kalamata olive.
Kalamata. Yes, I will eat a
Uh-huh.
jar of pickles or a jar of olives left to my own devices.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
See, this is why you have to have these questions because you just never know, what people think are. I'm being called a blasphemer in the comments for
Oh,
pineapple
wait.
on my pizza now. Listen.
Zay, but Zay understands. I don't know if Xavier's had my ham before.
Well,
I
for
don't
those
think.
of y'all who are listening, let us know in the comments. Do you put pineapple on your pizza? I got to know. Okay.
I'm saying. Xavier's right. No pineapple. But I won't call you blasphemous. But I will say no,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
All right, y'all. So let's get into our timeline topic of the week. I have to put my production hat on. Hold on, guys.
4 times more likely to die by simply not expressing.
Women are particularly programmed not to say no in this culture. It costs them hugely in terms of mental and physical health. They looked at 2,000 women over a 10-year period, and those women that were unhappily married and didn't express their feelings were 4 times as likely to die as those women who were also unhappy, but they did express their feelings. So the issue wasn't happiness, the issue was authenticity.
Yes.
Self-expression.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is profound.
It's frightening.
It's frightening. But why are we not talking about that? I mean, so you see, 4 times more likely to die by simply not expressing.
Yeah. We live in a society which very much is dependent on roles. And roles depend on how other people see you. So we all want to be seen in the best possible light. And society punishes us for being authentic.
I love how one of them says, "Wow, that's profound," and the other is like, "No, it's frightening."
It's frightening. Like more than profound, more than just the aha, that's what an interesting fact. Like, no,
Mm-hmm.
that's scary and terrible, and people are living that and dying it every day.
Why do you say it's scary? What's scary about it? What? What are you thinking when you hear that?
Because I feel like to certain degrees, a lot of, and I know asterisks abound, not all women, some men,
Yes. Yes.
people, got it. Okay, but we're talking about women in this case. So anyway,
Yes.
we said the things. Um, but I think that a lot of people would resonate with that and feel like to a degree, there is a lot of emphasis put on just kind of go along to get along mentality. And then for
Sure.
women specifically in a relationship and in a familial unit, that your need and your like it's your responsibility to keep the peace.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can just go ahead and stuff your feeling down, it's for the
Mm-hmm.
betterment of the entire unit. And
Mm-hmm.
so like consistently we're giving those pieces of ourselves until there isn't anything left. And it's the expectation. So people don't
Mm-hmm.
even necessarily check in. And that's why it's scary because
Right.
you do it to yourself. Like
Yes.
you're giving of yourself consistently, and technically no one's asking you to do it,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
it's the expectation that's there. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes it frightening because
Mm-hmm.
it's not something that anyone's going, hey, hold on, wait a minute, like you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to do that,
Yeah.
this isn't bringing you joy.
I found it interesting because I think when we think about not expressing ourselves, or not always saying the thing, or going along to getting along, we don't recognize like the physical impact that that has, right? It's often just, oh, you just, maybe you're not most joyful. It's attached to like these emotional responses, but I think our body physically, clearly, people are dying, as a result over time, etc. But I know for me, like when I don't express myself, or when I have something I like in my mind, I know I need to say, but it maybe won't be the most received or most liked or whatever. I literally feel a lump in my
Mm,
throat. And
mm-hmm.
sometimes I know exactly what it is that I need to say that I'm not saying. And sometimes I have to like, well, what are you not saying? What is
Right,
happening?
right.
Sometimes I just need to drink water, but a lot, a
Not
lot
you just thirsty. Your throat chakra is blocked, Shekinah.
oh, no. But I'm curious to know, like, what are some of those physical symptoms that come in your experience as a result from
Yeah.
not speaking up?
I am left to my own devices. I am a serial go along to get along.
Mm-hmm.
So I will frequently find the softest way to deliver the difficult message. Like I know what I need to tell you. Like just
Mm-hmm.
go do this or whatever. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know the shortcut, but I'm wired to take the scenic route, like to take you on the
Mm-hmm.
scenic route to like reduce the
Mm-hmm.
potential issues in the future. So
Mm-hmm.
I've overthought it enough to be like, okay, this is probably the easiest way to get this message across so you
Mm-hmm.
actually hear me and we don't have to go through the back and forth for you to just do what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm.
as far as
That's a skill.
but it's also a trauma response. So like,
We're gonna talk about it. We keep going. We keep going. We keep going.
but there there's definitely something to be said there. Like even in relationships, like um I've had partners tell me like you don't argue, and I'm
Mm.
like, well, I don't want to argue with you. Like I
Mm-hmm.
want this to be a safe space for me, and I want it very much to be a safe space for you. Like I want
Right.
you to know that this is where you can lay your burdens down and you don't have to put on an armor to like come
Uh-huh.
home and have a conversation with me. So in the beginning of life, I
Yes.
thought that was the way to go, and the way to
Uh-huh.
do it, and since have realized that that's not, arguing
Mhm.
it or discussing. It doesn't have to be
Sure.
arguing, but like
Mm-hmm.
calling a thing, having the
Addressing,
conversation,
asserting her. Yeah.
right, is important and necessary and valued. And to the doctor's point, it keeps you alive and safe. Um, so
Amen.
saying the things are very important. So for me, I don't know so much that it's a feeling
Mm,
in a specific body part because I know
mhm,
when I'm doing. Like I know
mhm,
when I'm
mhm,
overriding the here, just say this.
mhm, mhm,
Because I just value, I know there are people that aren't as intentional with their words as I
mhm,
am.
mhm.
And in those heated conversations or emotional conversations, people are apt to just say whatever and
Whatever.
just go, you deal with it. And for me, I don't forget that stuff. So if we're going to
Mm,
be able to go forward in this relationship, like it's going to be very hard for me to forget what
mhm,
you said to
mhm.
me when you
Just
were
because you were
angry.
mad. Yeah.
Correct. Because I know
Okay.
you meant it somewhere. There was some truth
Mhm,
in that somewhere.
mhm,
And
mhm,
so now
mhm,
we have to deal with that. So
mhm,
it's
mhm.
like if we can keep it as calm and as even as possible, so you have the opportunity to choose what you really mean and want to say to
Mm,
me, then we're
mm.
gonna get along much better because it's I will shut down and I will cut it off and just be like, all
Yeah.
right, cool, you got it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No,
Glad we had this talk.
that's such a good, healthy MO. I think because like as you're talking, I'm like, for me, and it's something I'm working on, and I'm learning to find the balance, right? Because okay, if I'm like you for just go do this, right? You're like, I'm gonna take you around the way, I'm gonna show you the different things, and
The
then you're
why,
gonna
the with them, you're gonna
arrive
choose.
at let's do this yourself, right? That is not a skill that I have.
Ah,
I don't have the skills, the the innate skill of taking you on the journey with me. I'm like, hey, that's where we need to be. Like, just trust me, okay? Because
right.
either I've been through it, I'm going through it, or I just see it differently,
Yes.
objectively, and let's get there, right? So I have learned that in those expressions, in saying the things that I need to say, it isn't always received well by the other person. And therefore, I feel a way because I'm emotional, right? And I am also a people pleaser in my own way, that you don't like what I just said, right? I feel a
Right.
way that you aren't comfortable with what I just said. But I have learned that, you have to earn the right sometimes to say certain things.
Very
Sometimes we
true.
do have to allow people to arrive at these conclusions on their own. And then sometimes you will say some things that just simply make people uncomfortable. But
Right.
one of the 10 commandments that I have made for myself is that I will honor my emotions and express what I need. And what that has allowed me to do has been to kind of step back from the situation. Okay, I'm feeling this thing. I need this thing. How can I best express this to get what I want? Right? Not
Right.
what was just coming to my mind, not just saying anything, not just saying it, then expecting also the other person to just receive it because I said it, for a long time. That's why I avoided being in relationships because I wouldn't have to
Mm.
explain myself to people. Like, you should just know, right? You should just get it,
Right.
which is foolery. Nobody.
How? How?
Right? You know what I mean? But it's like, no, be intuitive and like, your partner and like read my
but the
mind and
pro-
shit.
but part of the thing is because we do show up in relationships that way for people. Because
Mm-hmm.
for you, I
Yes.
imagine, with
Yes.
that point of view, you show up in a relationship, you pay attention,
Yes, I
you
do.
see what people like, you see
Yes,
what
I
they're
do.
going to do, and you are oftentimes able to pretty closely
Mm-hmm.
guess what's
Mm-hmm.
going to land well with them. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you approach it like that, you also expect people to approach you that way, or you think
Yes.
you've been around me, why don't you, why
Yes.
don't, and then it feels like them not being considerate, and now it's
Yes.
like, whoa. Well, I love when my Zoom just goes with
I
me.
love it too.
So
Paid actor.
it's great. It's been effective so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that definitely is a part of it, but I also want you too to realize that how you have dealt with it is still healthy for you, because
Mm-hmm.
in the same way that I'm like, oh, let's take the long road and blah 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 blah, like part of
Mm-hmm.
that I've had to realize though is I haven't let go of trying to control how other people are feeling.
Oh, that's
So it's
good,
like,
Kalonda.
it's like I'm not responsible for that. That's
You're
not my
feeling
business.
like you feeling like if I take you on this journey, you'll feel these things as we come to them. You'll arrive to this conclusion in the due time because I've taken you through this process.
I've taken you through the steps so that you will
Uh-huh.
do those things, but
Uh-huh.
it's not,
Uh-huh.
it's still like being responsible for how
Yeah.
they receive it. And like I'm
Yeah.
working on that. I am
Yeah.
working on that.
Yeah. No, I get that.
But
I get that.
definitely a point to note that that's not always the best answer.
No,
Because
I get
again,
that. And I hope, the listeners hear that two people pleasers, right? Two control freaks, I want to say, but
yeah, that took a while for me to accept that
two
title.
people who
But
enjoy knowing the outcomes. Let's rephrase. But very
yes,
different
yes.
approaches, right? And yet, and still, we both have to learn ourselves, learn the people we're in communication with, learn what feels good, but never is there the sacrifice of not expressing ourselves, right? Never
Correct.
can we get into the mode of, well, it's not working, so I'm just not going to do it. We have
Right.
to assess, readjust, assess, readjust, and keep
Correct.
this thing going. Because I'll be damned if I'm dying because I'm not expressing myself. Okay, on her
You
tombstone
know,
writes, "Well, she would have said this."
she
No.
was nice. That's what it's gonna say. She was nice.
Yes. Yes.
'Cause that's all I got you. You know, like wait a
Yes.
minute.
In the
Yes.
comments we said we have knowing the outcomes feels so safe though. And boy do I get that. But you know
Yeah.
what I've learned feels even more safe is when I know I'm gonna speak up for myself though.
Mhm.
I'm gonna speak up for
Yeah.
myself regardless. And when something doesn't feel right, doesn't register in my system, because I've also been the opposite where I wasn't saying anything, where I didn't
Mm.
speak up, where I went along knowing this shit is not right. And that
Yeah.
wound it in a non-safe situation as well. So for
Yeah.
me, I do love to know an outcome. I love a plan. I love an itinerary and I love when things go according to plan, but you stand firmer. I've stood firmer and I will honor my emotions and I will express what I need and doing it from a responsible place, not only for myself, but for, the people I am
People in here.
in community
Yeah.
and communication with. So
Yeah. I
nice.
definitely love knowing an outcome. I
Yes.
definitely create or did. I'm trying to get out of it, but it's the first thing. And there's actually a term for it, and I can't think of it right now. But where there's like a term when you do overthink and create all the plans for the
Mm-hmm.
87,000, catastrophic things that could possibly happen.
Catastrophizing.
Not that is what it is, but there's like a term for it. Like there's
Okay.
a almost like a diagnosis,
Mm.
excuse me, for doing it. And
Okay. Okay.
so I was like, I can't think of it, Lord knows. I am a lazy gifted kid. So there's a lot of stuff that I've seen or read. And so I remember enough of it to be able to be
Right.
like, I
Right.
know I saw that,
It's
but
something
I
out
probably
there.
can't tell you who said
Yes.
it, where it was, when it happened. I just know it's a thing. But,
Okay.
Lord knows.
Well,
Um,
help us out in the chat, y'all. Help us out in the
Yes, but yeah, so
chat.
definitely love knowing an outcome. But a lot of times when you do stop and think about it, you realize and have to ask yourself, when have I ever created any of these plans and any of those things actually happen? And then a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times when you
Mm-hmm.
ask yourself that,
Mm-hmm.
more times than not, none of those came up. And
Yeah.
you've just worked your system up, put yourself in survival mode over nothing.
Yeah.
Instead, focusing on whatever I choose to do
Mhm.
is going to be the right decision for me in that path. And if I
Mhm.
need to pivot, I have the authority to do so.
Come
So
on, authority.
give yourself the authority, child,
Eesh.
and just say it's okay. Like it's all right.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make this choice with the information I have. If it turns
Yes.
out that I need to do something different, then I'll do something different. But it's just
Yes.
the original thought process was if I know exactly what's going to go wrong and I make a plan to fix it, everything will be fine because I know what to do. But
Love that.
you've really wasted a lot of time.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Thank you. So, before we move on to our Let's Talk topic, I want to shout out to our
Yeah.
sisterhood. That is our live chat. They are engaging in the conversation, dropping some facts, some knowledge. So, we got Dr. Gaber Mate is the profound voice. or excuse me, is a profound voice in the trauma, addiction, and brain area. He is someone really great to follow. He's the guy who was speaking in the video. As I said earlier, somebody mentioned that knowing the outcome feels safe. Rumination or, oh, a diagnosis. Yeah, okay, we just got some chatter going on here. Hey, y'all, welcome everybody this is your first time in our chat. I appreciate y'all pulling up, showing up, and engaging and commenting on the things. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to our Let's Talk topic of the week. And this week, I want to talk about life after burnout. Okay. This is something I am sure a lot of our listeners can experience. Hopefully, you have found life after burnout. But if you are currently feeling burnt out, keep on listening, child, because I'm sure you will get some gems. So before we get into it, Kalonda, tell me a little bit about what is your experience with burnout, and did you see it coming? Did it sneak up on you? Was it a surprise attack? Like, talk to me a little bit about the things.
I mean, first, that's assuming that I knew the term necessarily. That I
Right.
knew it was a thing that was happening that I had probably been doing for a good decade. So
Yes.
it's like, so
Yes.
no, I had no clue for a very, very, very long time. And often we're awarded for that behavior,
Mhm.
for working to the point of exhaustion and keep pushing. And people say, "Oh my gosh, she's such a hard charger."
There you go.
Sorry that I'm back. But yes, for some reason that we're given all these accolades for
Mhm.
working and being and existing in that manner. So we
Mhm.
continue to do
Mhm.
that because that's what we think we're supposed to do. Um, the no, I was trying to see if I could find the title of that, but I couldn't. So no, I did not know. And I think it finally, man, I'd probably say it was in 2022, maybe,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, that I started having almost like experiencing like super anxiety, just not really knowing what was going on, and feeling very just like something bad was happening and I couldn't put a
Mhm.
word to it and I was feeling paranoid.
Mhm.
Um, it was a lot was going on, but I also was still working and trying to figure out, what what was happening with that. I was separated from my husband at the time.
Mhm.
So dealing with that's really probably that's not where it started, but
Mhm.
that sounded bad. But
And the
when I
layer.
realized, yeah, that's when I realized because it came a time when all of the titles that I was used to having and operating within, they no longer applied.
Mhm.
So like I'd moved back to New Orleans. I'd been living in San Diego, California for a number of years. Moved back home. Was helping a childhood friend of mine that was with her babies and like doing all the things and being a friend and all that stuff. And was excited to move back to the city. But in that time was just working and getting my feet under me, doing all the activities, just like doing everything, doing all the things. And then it just really got to a point where my brain had no more space. And
Mhm.
where we talk about, where do you feel that not saying and not doing? I had a therapist once that like described it as having, she's like, you just have a dresser of drawers that you just put the things in and you just
Mhm.
put them in the drawer. You just keep putting it in the
Mhm.
drawer. That drawer gets full, you go to another drawer, fill that drawer
Mhm.
up. And she's like, and right now everything's coming out of your drawers. Like your drawers are
Mhm.
exploding. The dresser has exploded and all of the things are coming out, right? And I
Mhm.
don't want to deal with that. I don't have time
Right.
for that.
Right. Right. Right.
Like I
Right.
can't
Right. Right. I gotta
if
go to
I
work.
if I gotta go to work. I
Yeah.
have to go to work. And that's all
Yep.
I knew
Yep.
was the work.
Yep.
And so when my husband and I separated, it's like, okay, what is life like not being a wife? Like I got
Sure.
married at 20, I had turned 21 already. So I was 21 when we
Wow.
got
Very young.
married. Right. And so,
Mhm.
and I met him, he was literally my neighbor on my college campus. So
Mm.
it was like day one of
Convenient.
college.
No.
Hello, how are you? He had a car and could buy the alcohol, and I cooked
Okay.
and had cable. It was very
Okay. Come
symbiotic. It
on.
was a great
Listen.
it's a great
Help
time.
meet.
Um, great time, you know. And he's an awesome person. Like he's amazing.
Yeah.
So like all of that happened. So it was like, okay, what does that look like? And then also realizing what am I doing with work? Because I'd worked with one large company for over 20 years as well. It
Mm,
was switching from that to a new organization and just trying to find my footing, learning a whole new industry and getting that all set and wanting to do it well, and like
mhm,
pushing
mhm,
myself to make sure it was right.
mhm,
Um, so just a lot of stress and a lot of pressure that didn't I wasn't reading as stress
mhm,
and pressure
mhm,
because that's how I normally just
mhm,
work.
mhm.
And so in the middle of that was this stress and anxiety that was starting to kind of like
Yeah.
become a normal part of my life. And it was like, okay,
Mhm,
well, what do I do? So it was like, okay, let's try, CBD, see how that feels. And I really could feel like the release. Like I
mhm,
realized how tight
mm,
my
mhm,
body
mhm,
was and
mhm.
how
Yeah.
tight I was feeling. And I
Yeah.
never really
Didn't
realized it
recognize
till it
that.
stopped, and
Yeah,
it was
for
like,
sure.
oh shit. Sorry.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. Yeah,
Okay.
you can cuss, girl. Cuss it
Okay.
up.
I'm like, "Oops." So like that was definitely the start of it. But then throughout that process, what I also wasn't necessarily recognizing was that in addition to just depression in general,
Mhm,
just walking around bebopping like everything was fine, raw dog in life, that my brain needed some help. It needed
yeah.
some help in the chemical sense of some
Mm,
actual medication, and I didn't
mm,
know. So,
mhm,
and this is, trigger warning for anyone, sorry.
mhm,
But there have been several times where I was like, where you said, this is not going to take me out. I've seen you say that on your show
mhm,
before of like
mhm,
identifying, like, I'm going to go through this. I was very much like, all right, that's enough.
mm. Take me out of here.
Thank you. This has been
Yeah,
nice. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna head out, right?
Mm,
Um, and I apologize to the people. I do have a dark sense of humor, I guess, but I mean that
hey,
it's mine, so there it is.
hey.
But
No apologies necessary, honey.
the well, no, there are because I know the people that are close to me that have gone through this with me
Mm,
several
mm,
times.
mm, mm.
I'm sure
Probably
they
wasn't
have their
funny for
feelings.
them.
Correct.
Yes,
It was
I
not,
get that.
and for everybody's in the different places of accepting it. So
Sure.
I am sensitive to that as much as I can be.
Yeah.
Um, but again, the scene. So the um I got to that place and was just like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I can't in my head try to figure out what's safe. And trying to fix it with a broken brain
Yeah.
was the definition of insanity. And I
Mhm.
was gone and
Mhm.
had no
Mhm.
idea and didn't know why. And
Mhm.
so I
Mm.
was I was able to get medication. Thank you, Jesus.
Mhm.
I was able to get medication, and at the time, I was taking medication for the depression and the anxiety, but
Mhm.
not necessarily medication that was addressing these thoughts, and
Mm.
that they were more psychotic in nature, more than
Mm.
anything, of like just this impending doom and something was going to happen, and there was just this
Mm. Mhm.
lack of safety, and
Sure.
so I was on that. Then I did get medicine for
Mhm.
the antipsychotic thoughts, what have you. But then I honestly I couldn't even tell you why I wasn't on them anymore. Like it was either like switch to doctor or something happened. But I was still taking the anti-anxiety, the antidepressants, and I was fine. I'd gotten through that period. It was
Mm.
everything's great. Everything's looking up. Awesome. So
Mhm.
then I decide to leave that new industry that I'd gone into and to start working for myself. And I was
Mhm.
going to be an executive assistant, and I was working with two professionals, and they were a husband wife team. And my life kind of was like thrown into doing that. But at the time, again, I was separated from my husband. The pay was very different. So there
Mhm.
was like this
Mhm.
added
Mhm.
stress. And then it was just like, what is going on? And then now again, it was the something's happening around you that you aren't really sure about, that people aren't
Yeah.
telling you and you can't trust them. And it was
Mm.
very much a paranoid feeling at all times. And it was about the people
Mhm.
that I loved and cared and trusted the
Right,
most. And
right.
that was also very hurtful because it's
Yeah,
like, I don't
just a
believe
cycle.
this, but I can't be around you. Like, I
Mhm.
can't, because
Yeah.
everything you're doing is making me feel like something else is happening. And it came to a head. And again, and I was like in the middle of a workday. I was in it, everything was
Mhm.
fine. Like, it wasn't oh, I
Mhm.
prepared all these things, I
Mhm.
did all the
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
Like, no, I was
Mhm.
in the middle of my workday. And I
Yes.
left my workday and was like, okay, that's it. Um,
Yes.
by the grace of God, like, my friends found me, got me to the
Mhm.
hospital. I came out of the hospital. Um, and then that was kind of when, like, just really all everything went to hell. It was just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
just very, very alone, very dark. I wasn't working, relationships ended that I
Mhm.
thought would have been there. And then, like, I was doubting myself of like, am I always gonna feel like this? What's wrong with
Mhm.
me? Um, and then it was just like, how do I move forward? Like, I need to
Mhm.
work, but like I literally couldn't work. It was like
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything. Um, and then in the meantime, I'm like talking to Kim, and we're just trying to figure out like what just regular life, because I feel at this point fine, because now I
Mhm.
am medicated,
Mhm.
everything's
Mhm. Mhm.
great, except I have no anything. Like,
Yeah.
I have nothing, and it was
Yeah.
just like now the feeling of burden comes up.
Mhm.
So it was just a lot of this was birthed out of pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and just ignoring those small signs that are like, oh, you
Yes.
got a little sick, go sit
So
down.
I want to talk about some of that. And before, I do want to say thank you very much for sharing, and just
Yeah.
being transparent because I think that's why I created this podcast. I think that when we have authentic conversations, when people feel safe sharing, hearing similar experiences, it really just does something, for the soul to know like you're not alone. You aren't the only one who's experienced these things. And it's even more powerful when the other person, looks like you, sounds like you, and you can relate to. So thank you for sharing that. I relate in a lot of ways to your story, in that like you said, it just in the middle of the day, for me, I had a nervous breakdown. Like I literally felt like my brain just stopped working, which for someone like myself who was a problem solver, the industry I worked in, I rented cars. It was all about logistics. It was a high stress type of environment. There was high demand, medium supply.
Yes,
There's
that part.
constant moving and going and strategizing. And so, like you said, the push is normal. The high stress is normalized. It becomes a part of your everyday thing, and not taking time, opportunity, intentionality to release that energy, process that energy. It was just go home, eat something real quick, go to bed, get back up, do it all
Rinse and
over
repeat.
again.
Yep.
It comes to a point. It will come to a point. So anyone who is listening, who and it's not to say you can't manage yourself, your mental health in these high stress environments, but it is to say there is a level of intentionality that you do need in any environment when it comes to maintaining your mental health and not experiencing burnout.
Yeah.
And when I had that, mental break, because I'm literally in the middle of the day trying to figure something out, and I just could not think. I could not think.
Mm.
I'm standing at the counter. Again, I love problem solving. I love lo- logisticizing, make that word up, strategizing, figuring out the things. But I love it when there's a plausible solution, right? When I can get to the end. And for whatever reason, I just kept feeling stuck. I kept hitting this
Mm.
wall of like, my brain won't go. My brain, like trying to turn the car with no gas, like it's not
Right.
working. Why is it not working? And I just fell out crying, and in the middle of the store, I'm hugging one of the senior managers, like trying to, and I'm hyperventilating, trying to calm myself down. And it wasn't until that moment that I even like realized, oh shit, I might be doing something a little here.
something's amiss.
Maybe need to make some changes, right?
Right.
So I want to talk about a little bit about what do you think in hindsight, now that you have come out on the other side, what were some of those red flags that you were kind of starting to talk about that you did ignore or that are easy, if you will, for people to kind of miss so that we don't all have to get to those take me out of here moments or the freak out moments. Like what are some of those red flags, if you will, that we can pay attention to when potentially facing burnout?
Yeah. I think a lot of it goes back to even what the doctor was talking about of the authenticity.
Mm,
I think it's I don't want to say easier, but I feel like you get to the point of burnout when you're also doing things that aren't aligned with your purpose and where you
yes.
should be,
And I
because
honestly think that was a big factor for me also, because I remember telling my branch or my area manager, like, I am a creative. I feel like I need to do something creative because I was talking about quitting, maybe quitting and moving on, and they're trying to convince me to stay. And I'm saying this, and then he's like, well, just use a different color whiteboard mark because we have to put our sales numbers up on this whiteboard. He's like, well, just change the colors, 'cause I'm like,
that ain't it.
not it. But yes, that
People
that was a
don't
big
get
one
it.
for me as well.
Yeah. I think definitely that in all aspects. I think a lot of times since we've begun using the term burnout and identifying what it is, we tend to ascribe it to solely work. But
Mhm.
it's also your personal relationships too,
Mm.
because
Mhm.
in those you're also giving of yourself in ways that don't align with your purpose and that don't align with your
Yeah.
frequency anymore, and
Okay.
saying yes to things that you don't want to do. And so I think all of those were red flags that I wasn't ignoring because or that I was ignoring because I just never they weren't on my radar. Like that
Yeah.
wasn't something you
Something to
did,
consider. Right. Mhm.
correct. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, this is what we do.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
football season, it's Mardi Gras, it's
Mm.
Christmas, it's Thanksgiving, we're coming up on holidays. Like, how many people are going to be sitting around a table on Thursday with people that don't make them feel good, that don't make them
Yes.
feel safe, that actively say things to harm them, where they're in the
Ooh.
house with their abusers. Like,
Mhm.
and people are putting themselves in those
You're
positions
talking good
because
now.
they feel like they have to, you know?
Mhm.
And so I think
Mhm.
we do ourselves a disservice when we assume it's just work. Because
Yeah.
then what happens is you do
You're
have
right.
people who say, okay, I'm gonna get out of this force. I am a creative. I'm gonna start my podcast. I'm gonna start
Mhm.
making my blankets and my jewelry and my
No,
candles, and
you talking good.
it's gonna be
Mhm.
great. But then you're in the same circle of people that are also still making you feel bad about making the
Yes.
choices you need to make for your life.
Yes.
And so you
Yes.
can still be burnt out because now you're still going to brunch or still
Mm.
going to Sunday dinner, and that's not where you want or need to be. So,
Yes. That is so good. That's such a missed perspective or opportunity to refuel yourself. Burnout is not just work. People will burn you out probably more than your job will, right?
a
Because
100%.
they have access to a particular part of you that is more intimate, that is more
Yes.
sacred, that is deeper,
Yeah.
than what you do 9 to 5 or when you show up to the office, right? And we
Yeah.
don't think about, well, actually, I don't want to do Sunday dinner with you every Sunday.
Right.
It
And it's not
frustrates me,
personal.
and
Like, it's like, I
it's
just don't
loud
want to.
over there. You got dogs and kids running
I'm
around. I got
overstimulated. I want to
spaghetti
take a
sauce
nap.
spilled on me. I
You
want
know,
to take a nap on my day
anything.
off. Like it could be all of these things, and I
Yeah.
think that when we don't consider that energy as well, we definitely do ourselves a disservice. So thank you for pointing that out. You also talked about in the career field or in life or whatever, not doing things that align authentically with who you are and what your gifts are. So talk to me a little bit about, because I know you've gone through Discover Your Destiny as well,
Yep.
but I know it was profound for me in just like, oh shit, this has been here this whole
This whole time.
so this them years, I'm trying to figure it out, and I should have been doing this, right?
If I should have, right.
So talk to me just a little bit about, how knowing yourself deeper has influenced for me every part of my life, but whatever influence it has made on yourself personally or professionally.
Yeah. Kim is gonna laugh because it's still stuff that I will be like, I don't know, is that
Uh-huh.
really? And she's like,
Uh-huh.
girl, for real. Because like yeah, we Kim, bless her heart, she has she's brought me through it, right?
Right?
Um,
Amen.
I I deal a lot with imposter syndrome. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's like believing the things that
Mm-hmm.
people say and
Mm-hmm.
discounting the things that they say. Because to
Mm-hmm.
me, again, it feels that's just what you do, so it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't feel out
Like
of
you're
the
doing a thing,
ordinary or
right?
different or extra or like
Uh-huh.
that's what I do. Like you asking for a bio, like I have a bio on my website, of course I do. But then
Right.
I like look at this bio and I'm like, all right, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I do
yeah,
that
I've done
too.
those things, but it's not,
Yeah.
when I look at, and I always say this, when I look at like Kim and when I look at Bianca, like I definitely am so excited when I hear them talk about what they do and how
Mm.
they advocate, how they show up in these spaces and being so like, yeah, that's what I do. I'm gonna pop my shit. I'm gonna go about my business. And I know you have to work to get there. Like there is work that
Yes.
happens to
Yes.
get to that point. Um, it's just for me sometimes I'm like, yeah, I've done these things, but I think I'm still building that bridge to I am this. You know what
Mm.
I mean? Like, yeah, my
Mm-hmm.
cousin and I, we have a lovely podcast that people
Mm-hmm.
have tuned into and they come talk to us about it and send us
Mm-hmm.
letters for
Mm-hmm.
advice. But I feel like there are more days that I feel like my cousin Kimberlyn, who is amazing, has a
Uh,
podcast that she lets me be a
that
part
I'm
of.
on.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
show up on
Uh-huh.
Sundays to hang out with her, and
Uh,
so it doesn't feel like that's
what
me.
are your what is it, the gifts for the kingdom or
Now,
your
see, don't get
no?
me in trouble,
Okay.
Shekinah.
Okay, that's
Hold on.
okay. It's
We can
fine.
we can go back to it because the problem is I know that I have three of them that are like
Uh-huh.
they're tied for first, and so it's
Uh
hold
okay. Well,
on.
while
I'm
you
a
looking up that, I'm gonna read some of
yes.
these comments from the sisterhood. It says that
Kim gonna
um
fire me.
where do I want to start? It says, yes, it is so disheartening if it doesn't manifest like I envision. I think that's kind of going back to our ideas on control and wanting to kind of control the
Mm,
outcome.
hmm.
We have that understood. That is the work. We have to learn how to release that expectation, which is so much easier said than done.
Child.
Baby, in my best New Orleans accent, that was my impression of that. When stuff starts falling out of those drawers, it is wild. It is
Child.
easy to pull the covers over your head. And then we have but God as a testimony to Kalonda's testimony. Amen.
Amen.
Kimberlyn says, thank you for your transparency and vulnerability and sharing your experience at Content Kalonda. You will help so many people with what you are sharing. Indeed. Let's
Mhm.
see. That's my new favorite word. Quote logisticizing. Okay, put it in the Webster. Y'all know what I mean.
You will be
Somebody said they're
credited.
putting it in. Okay, putting it in rotation. Says you talking good, Kalonda. Got to do a village audit. Still going
Facts.
into spaces with unsafe people. Indeed. It might not be personal, but we don't have to justify why we don't want to do something. No is a complete sentence. Yes,
Full sentence.
indeed.
Full sentence.
Okay, we
Full
got
stop.
KJ telling us that you are a soul healer and a dream awakener. A
Those
soul
things.
healer and a
Which
dream awakener.
which here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm. What's the
I mean,
thing?
it's completely aligned with what I
Right?
because
No.
I do. Like I want people and every time I talk to Kim or I talk to someone that are one of the visionaries that I'm working with, Like it is, or even just when in me creating my journal, it
Mm-hmm.
was to take the things, because I think what there's a couple different things. Sorry, y'all. The brain is, it's got a lot of pathways. All right, so first, I don't think we ever ask ourselves, like, stop and say, what is my dream? Like, what do I
Right.
want to do? How do I
Mm-hmm.
want this life to
Mm-hmm.
look
Mm-hmm.
for me? Right. So
Very
I
true.
don't think we do that for ourselves. And
Yeah.
then on the off chance that you do say, what is the dream? People create the dream, but with that word dream, it doesn't feel like there's an actual action behind it. It's like set
Right.
up as a pie in the sky thought
It
of like,
feels,
if
yes.
everything was perfect, then I
Mm-hmm.
could have that, and
Elusive.
only then. Correct. Just
Yes.
non tangible, just does not exist in the real realm of life. But my goal has always been to help people see, like, you can, if you give yourself the time to identify your dream and then
Mm-hmm.
sit down and say, okay, what are the things that I can do? How does my schedule need to change? How does my routine need to change? How does my life need to be different
Mm-hmm.
in order to get this dream? Because so
Mm-hmm.
far, what's gotten us to whatever that point is before we start asking that question is we were putting all these other people in front of us, all these other
Yes. Yeah.
things before us, taking them into consideration and saying, well, my dream can't work for this reason. And it's all these other people and all these other things. But it's like when you just focus on you for a moment and say, okay, how do I make my life more likely to support this dream? Then
Yeah.
your dream is, you can put it on a calendar. You
Plausible.
can
Right. Right.
say,
Right.
I can get up, I'm gonna meditate, I'm gonna journal, I'm gonna do yoga, I'm gonna learn a foreign language, I'm gonna learn how to type, I'm gonna work with my clients, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
do my marketing, I'm gonna do my social media, I'm
Yeah.
gonna spend time developing relationships with my family, I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch podcasts, I'm gonna read books. Like, then it
Yep.
becomes very easy when
Right.
it's like,
And
oh,
that's what
yeah, that's what I want to do.
that's what they teach us to do in when you take the vocational test, as a kid. Like what career are you gonna wind up in? Okay, I'm gonna be a doctor, I'm gonna be a lawyer, I'm gonna be this or that, boom, there's a clear path. And I think a lot of us get on that path, and then, if you're like either of us, 10 years, however many years down the line, you burn out and realize this was totally the wrong path. But the point is, there is a path, like you're
Right.
saying, to make these things possible, to make these things
Yeah,
real. Um,
absolutely.
I
And
too,
those pivots on the path are important.
hmm
Like
and,
all
and
of the
they're a part of the
things that
path.
I went through, correct. All of the
Yeah.
things that I went through before, all of the different industries, like that for
Yes.
whatever reason make no sense in going together, have all culminated in me
I'm
being
still
able to
trying to
do what
figure
I
out
do
how
today.
washing cars correlates to my story, but Lord.
It is
Um,
in there. It's in the perseverance. Because if it was
yes.
during the winter time,
No, it
girl,
was in the
love.
hot summer in South Florida,
Well,
24-8. Uh, but no, I truly do. I do believe
yeah,
that though. It has helped me with like management and understanding operations and things like that, logistics,
yeah.
as I said earlier. But I am also a soul awakener and or excuse me, a soul healer and a dream awakener as
A dream
well.
awakening.
And it's interesting
Yay!
because when I was reading your bio and like listening to or reading the things that you do and help businesses, I was like, wow, that's very similar, to what I do as a brand bestie. Mine is a little more on the creative design
Right. Yeah.
end of it all, where I feel like yours is more business strategy and planning. But
Hmm.
the idea, my slogan is we go from ideation to creation. So the idea of
Right.
taking these things, these dreams, these ideas, these strategies, these plans that people have, stuck in their head, and let's get it out. Let's formulate how we gonna make it real, right? How are we going to
Right.
bring this thing to fruition? I want to know what were your first like reactions or feelings, because soul healer on the test that we take is labeled pastor, and I know
Yeah.
that
Yes.
was not it for
Yes.
me.
Yes. I was like, if all of my life was not in a suitcase right now, I would grab the notebook that has my notes, which is where it is instead of in my head. Which,
Ah,
yeah. Anyway, um, I was gonna joke because Kim is like, "Why do you always keep this stuff in your head? Write it down." And I was like, "I wrote this one down, but it's probably something I should have in my head."
Yeah.
But anyway, um, when I wrote down like all of the things and all of the
Yeah.
different tests and results, and when I wrote down pastor, I was like, "LOL!" Like, ain't no way. What are we talking about?
Right? No,
but
for real.
but then reading it, I was like,
Yes.
"Oh." All
No,
right.
that's
Which
me.
is even funnier because I
Yeah.
very much am a person who gets irritated with people when they're like, well, I wouldn't call it this, it's that. And in my head, I am often going, call it whatever you want. But like this is the
But
thing.
that's what it
But
is, child.
that's
Yes.
when I saw that word pastor, I was like, absolutely not. That
Yeah.
can't be right. But then when I read it, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
And so, okay,
Yeah.
I want to know, and obviously, so for the listeners, right? There's a test that we take. It gives
Yeah.
us one of the. I talked about this in a previous episode, but it gives us our gift for impacting people. And there, on that particular test, the name or the title for this particular archetype is a pastor. And
Hmm.
its definition is not what I initially thought a pastor to be, in that you are the leader of a church, you are
The leader
preaching
of the flock.
the
Right.
flock, you are preaching the gospel, you are taking every chance you have to tell the people about the Lord Jesus Christ Almighty. That was kind of like my initial thoughts of a pastor. But then,
That's
as
the
you said,
connotation of pastor. Yeah.
right. Then, as you said, like once you get to reading the description, and it's really all about creating safe spaces, it's really all about helping people to feel comfortable in your
Yes.
presence, to learn to
Right.
understand whatever
Yeah.
that particular thing that you're talking about might be.
Yeah.
It definitely changed things, and it was like, oh no, that's exactly what
That aligns.
that's
Yeah.
what I
Like
do.
if you're like the person at your job that's like, I do everybody's birthdays. I
Hmm.
do the secret Santa list.
Yep.
I am the person who all the new employees are trained with. Like
Hmm.
you may find yourself in that pocket often of like
Yeah.
the welcome committee of like
Yes.
come
You enjoy
in, it's
family, belonging,
yeah.
togetherness. Yes. All of these
Correct.
things.
And creating those spaces where they can be vulnerable and be like, hey, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be perfect. You're here. You can ask the questions. It's perfectly fine. We're going to get you all set. You're going to do
Yeah.
great. Go
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And
that's where you are.
understanding that these gifts are in all of us. All of us have a particular unique combo platter of these gifts is vital for me in really affirming who I was and allowing me this confidence to kind of walk boldly in that arena,
Hmm.
right? Because
Yeah.
before it was like, don't nobody really care, about the birthday. So why do you? Ain't nobody else putting up balloons and going all out to make welcome baskets for the new person. Why,
Hmm.
you wasting your time, it's not appreciated. But then it's just like, well, no, that's how I'm wired. That's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna do it boldly because actually there are people who need this space. There actually are people who appreciate, these things. There actually is going to be
Right.
someone who will positively be affected, by
Absolutely.
me being who I'm called to be, right? And
And there are
so,
people who can't do it. Like there
correct.
are people who can't
Who literally don't
access
think in
that
that
part.
color.
They're like, I can't
Yes,
care
yes,
enough about
yes.
what kind of card you want. And
Whatever
that's
balloons you
okay.
put up. I don't
Right. Like just put it up. Like, I don't know. I
But
have
it's
no
important to know
idea.
that too,
But you
because now
need
I'm
that.
not
Right.
offended by, well, why don't you
Correct.
care? You don't see the chartreuse and the green? Like, what
So different.
do you totally
Focus.
different?
When have you ever
Yes.
seen me? Right.
Yes. And so it allows you to kind of honor yourself in different ways, and honor that people are simply different. You don't have to get that agreement and all of the things that, we kind of spoke about before, or be confirmed by other people, because I'm confirmed by God.
Amen.
God did. Okay. God
Amen.
did. Well, listen, Wanda, we
We've
and
done the thing.
I'm loving it, and I appreciate, again, you sharing your story, you being honest, and vulnerable with us. It's definitely much appreciated. I know somebody is going to get something out of this, but before we go, I like to leave a conversation challenge with my audience. And this
Okay.
is a challenge, conversation that they can have with themselves, with the community, with the Holy Spirit, whomever they feel necessary to speak with. So I want to ask you, what conversation challenge do you want to leave with the audience to kind of help them in navigating some of the things that we spoke about today? I sprung
I
this
would
on her,
definitely
y'all.
say, I would say giving yourself that time to really truly ask, like, what does my dream life look like?
Mm-hmm.
If I took everybody else out of consideration and just focused on me, what
Mm-hmm.
does my dream life look like? And
I
then
love that.
see what little changes you can make in your life to get you closer to that dream and creating it. Because you can have that. You can live a wildly joyful life if you give yourself permission
Yes.
to.
I absolutely love that. Let us know, y'all, some of your dream lives in the comments. Share with us some things that you come up with or some small changes because you never know. I might need to make the change too. We can all make the change together, okay?
Together.
Yes, yes, indeed. Kalonda, tell the people where can they find you? How do they get in touch? What are the things?
The things are, so I am, my website is visionaryenetwork.com. There you can also see and get my journal, Wildly Joyful Life, with the use of AI that helps you identify what that dream is and creating a goal and a routine to help you get to that dream. You can also find me on Instagram at Visionary Executive Network. You can also find me on TikTok at Content Kalonda with the K's, Kontent, and then Kalonda. I think I'm pretty funny and a good time. On Sundays, you can find me on the Minding My Black Ass Business Network with my cousin, Kimberlyn, an amazing, extraordinary person, in our podcast, So You Don't Put Syrup on Your Grilled Cheese. We are on vacation right now. We're on hiatus until the new year, but there are 37 episodes that you can go back, get excited, get completely full on, and be ready when we come back in January.
Yes, this the one that had me putting syrup on my grilled cheese, y'all. It was her
It
and
was
her
delicious.
and her
It's better than
accomplice. No, I'm kidding.
it's better than pepperoni and or ham and pineapple or whatever.
All right, bye. No, just kidding. Oh man. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much, Kalonda, for sharing with
Thank
us. Thank
you.
y'all for listening. Listen, if you didn't get anything out of this episode, I don't think you were actually listening. So hit rewind, play it again from the top, distraction free, okay? And then once you do that, please share the episode with somebody you love or somebody you hate. Either way, just share the episode. But
Share the
do
grace.
like, do subscribe, and do come back next week for another episode of the Let's Talk This podcast. Thank y'all so much. I love you. Bye.